Hey guys, just getting ready to break this fast. Fast number 6. This was a tough one. I really wanted to have something a couple of times. What? Every time I open a bag, the dogs and the cat. But as soon as I'm done having this little snack here to get my system going again, I'm going to be whipping up a nice ribeye steak. We'll talk about it in just a moment. My little carnivores. Nice catch, Sam. Let's see. Let's do some cherry smoked salt. Haven't had cherry in a while since that apple pecan stuff came in. About time to get back to one of my favorites. Let's get it on. That should be just the perfect timing right there. Give me 30 minutes to digest a little bit and be ready to eat. So yeah, it's Sunday. I just broke my 72-hour fast with a few dehydrated pieces of meat there by Carnivore Crisps, and I'm getting ready to have this steak. It's been about 25 minutes now. I got about 12 minutes left on this. Perfect timing. I found out last week when I broke my fast by just having the steak, by skipping the small amount first, that it did affect me pretty heavily. And yes, I'm wearing my Dolphin shirt today. It's because today's Sunday and the Dolphins are playing, so I'm going to be watching. But I wanted to talk about a little bit more about what happened on Thanksgiving and how it's affected me over the past week and a half. I mean, it's been, what was it, the 23rd, I think, was Thanksgiving? Let me go back and take a look at my numbers since then. Because my ketones and stuff have been running in the 2 to 3 range when at night especially, and still very high in the morning prior to breaking my diet basically on Thanksgiving by having those 3 pieces of pie. But a lot of people seem to say, you know, it's no big deal. And I even put out a whole video talking about sugar, and Dr. Lustig talking about what a big deal sugar actually is. And it's one of those things that I kind of had figured out. But hearing somebody like Dr. Lustig come out and talk about it the way he did, comparing it to alcohol and how we can just really throw our system for a loop, especially when you're not used to having that stuff, as far as I'm concerned, it really is evident in your daily activity, because my energy level for the past week and a half has been way down. I've still been able to get in my exercises, but I wasn't doing as much as I was just before eating that way. I mean, it was like a major setback when it came to that. Let's see, on the 23rd, or the 24th, let's go to the day after, in the morning following, my ketone levels were down to 0.3 and my glucose was 109. First time it had been over 100 since I've been checking. Then on the 25th, my ketones in the morning were 0.6, so I was happy to be even in trace ketosis there, but my glucose was still at 97. Oh wow, I guess I had less than 12 minutes left. The following day, 0.4 and 98. That evening, 0.4 and 74. So still not in ketosis all day that day. The following morning I was back in ketosis at 1.4 and my glucose was 91, which is unusual to see glucose level that high and ketones that high at the same time. I think it was just following the dawn effect, so maybe the glucose was coming down and the ketones were up. I don't know, that was an interesting one. And then that afternoon my ketones were 1.2 and glucose was 108. Still surprisingly high number on the ketone side there. Following morning, 1.4 on ketones, 90 on glucose. 1.6 that evening, 91 on glucose. So riding in the 90s a lot on my glucose levels, whereas I was hitting much lower numbers when I was fasting or even eating normal. Then the following morning, 0.3 on the ketones, 79 on the glucose, 0.9 that evening, 72 on the glucose, 0.5 the next morning, 94 on the glucose. So running a lot of low numbers. Even that evening, I was 0.1 in ketones and 82 on the glucose. I checked again later that evening because I thought maybe it was a bad reading, and it was still 0.2 on the ketones and 91 on the glucose. The glucose was going up, and the 30th was what day was the 30th? That was the Thursday that I began my fast again. So that was unusual because I hadn't eaten since that afternoon. And then the following morning, 0.6 on ketones, 84 on glucose. That evening, 0.9 and 95. That was after fasting for 24 hours, over 24 hours at that point. So that was a surprise. Yesterday morning, I was at 1.3 on ketones and 85 on glucose. And then yesterday evening was the first sign that my body was getting back into that normal phase of getting into ketosis with 3.0 on ketones and 74 on glucose. Now granted, yesterday I did participate in a local parade. My wife and my son, who were in the karate school here in Dunnellon, they were going to be in the parade already. But then they had a couple of people call out who were going to participate in the parade. So my wife asked me if I'd come join. And I said, sure, I'll help out, no problem. It'll give me a chance to get a little exercise too. And so we got out there, and boy, we were out there a long time. You can see a few pictures of us here. And the one thing about it that I didn't like is that the only role they had for me to do was to walk along the side of the float and hand out candy canes. Well, you know, I'm doing it for the school, I'm doing it for my wife, I'm doing it for my kid. I figured I'm just gonna do it because I wanna participate in what's going on. And lo and behold, I met somebody on the trail while I was handing out candy canes that recognized me from the channel. And I thought, boy, that's something. This is the first time you see me and I'm handing out candy to somebody. But, you know, that's part of the normalcy situation that I've talked about in previous videos that we all have to deal with. It's like, you don't want to live as a pariah. You don't want to live as an outcast in the society that you live in. You got to participate some. So it's one of those areas where I bit the bullet and did what was best for the school. And I don't mind that. I think it was a good thing. I think it was worth the sacrifice. And then this morning, I was very happy to see my ketone levels were at 3.7, so I'm getting back to normal. My glucose was down to 58, and that reading was at 8 a.m., so it's a little bit after the dawn effect should have taken place, so I would expect to see my glucose levels coming down, but it's only in the past 12 hours that I've noticed things have totally normalized after almost a week and a half of eating that way. So all I can say is, guys, it's not worth it. I've said it before, it's not worth it because of the pain that it caused me, the difficulties that it caused me, the discomfort that it causes. It's like, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And it's not good enough to sacrifice all that pain and suffering just to have a little something sweet. I got delicious steak right here. Why? But I gotta say, I'm kind of looking forward to this experiment being over with, even though I am trimming down some more. I was down to 182 this morning from a high of 197 when I started doing the fasting. I'm still maintaining plenty of muscle mass. I can tell only because I'm still strong enough to do the exercises that I like to do. As a matter of fact, up until this incident, I've been increasing my reps. I noticed that I was going 20% more on my reps, even while I was fasting, because when you prioritize that muscle use while you're fasting, your body is not going to take energy from where you need priority from. It's going to take it away from the areas that you stored extra energy, and that's going to be from the glucose stored in your body and the fat stored in your body. I've seen other carnivore influencers or keto influencers out there that denigrate fasting. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The question is will the results at the end when it comes to the fat areas and the skin, the loose skin issue, is that going to be dealt with in the proper way? Is that going to be showing the results that I'd really like to see from such a stringent amount of fasting? Right now I'm doing 4 days of eating, 3 days of fasting. Been doing that for 6 weeks. Got 2 more weeks left, and then we'll give the big reveal. I just wanted to give you guys this quick update today. I'm getting ready to watch the Dolphins beat the Commanders, I hope. And they haven't lost since I've been wearing this shirt, so hopefully this will be the good luck charm for them. Yeah, I'm the reason they're winning. Wonderful. Oh, I've missed you. But don't get me wrong, I still love the fasting concept. I love what it does for my mentality, for my attitude, for my gratefulness for the things that I do have. It really has a lot of other benefits aside from the physical benefits. And when I'm not fasting for the purposes of health like I'm doing for this current content, sometimes I fast and I don't talk about it with you guys because that's just between me and God, and the Bible talks about that, so it's just something I don't always share. But I gotta tell you, man, I love having a nice ribeye. This is like the most appreciative time to have a ribeye, is right after a fast. Like, I gotta dig in, guys. I'll talk to you later.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?